Hello and welcome to my coverage of the KISS Community League as seen by my rider. Today we're doing the 25 UCI Worlds course and we're just in the pens right now. We're going to fast forward a bit so you don't have to sit around for 15 minutes and watch me warm up at 50 watts. So the KISS Community League is pretty much the biggest league on Zwift, and all the big names are out here today. We have the Poison Dart Frog, some KISS Super League members, you name it. Everybody's here. So 10 seconds before the start, I'm ramping it up to 300 watts. The start is, of course, going to be super hard. The KISS Community League races, the starts are always insanely hard, even compared to other Zwift races, which have hard starts. So we're off the start ramp, a bit of a downhill there, and then it's about 3 kilometers of uphill. So I pop my drafting boost right now because there's so many points on course to get these power-ups, so there's no need to really save them, but you can see I'm doing 455 watts and still just getting overtaken by so many people here. And through the start-finish banner for the first time, and I'm going to get another power-up here, and it's going to be another drafting boost, which I'll be able to use later on in this lap just to conserve some energy. So still up in the 5 watts per kilo range, and just for reference, my FTP is in the 4.8 watts per kilo, so this is above threshold effort for me. There's a bunch of guys here lined up who can do over 5 watts for 20 minutes, probably 50 to 100 guys. So definitely a strong field. I'm out here racing today with some of my teammates, and we're the team Power Dropouts. We actually met on Reddit, so we can be called, I guess, the Reddit community team. We're just going to fast forward a bit here because nothing really happened the first half of the race. Essentially, it was just a matter of staying with the front group, so the top 200 riders, and you can see we're about to pass through another sprint banner, so I pop my drafting power up just so I can bring it down to 250 watts. I'm in the top 150 riders, which is a pretty good place to be right now. There's no need to be super close to the front, and just as long as you're staying with the main pack and not getting caught out by any splits. And from my experience in the KISS community races, the top like 150 to 200 riders aren't going to be caught out until serious action happens. And that action is going to happen on Libby Hill. So normally this is the part of the course where you're actually able to recover because it's a downhill. I did back off the power a bit, but you can see I lost a lot of places. I'm back in 100. I was actually in the top 20 at the start of that hill. But as soon as the hill ends, we're back into threshold zone. So this is just the lead up to Libby Hill, and Libby Hill is the first hill. It's a pretty hard effort, 1 minute, a 1 minute effort, so not too long, but it means that it's pretty much all out. So here we are, just rounding the corner before Libby Hill. I'm satisfied with where I am in the group right now. There's 70 guys in front of me, but you don't want to be at the very front because you don't want to be pushing any wind. It would be nicer to be maybe the 30th rider on the road, but 70, 60 is all right, especially with such a big group. It's hard to get your positioning right. So I've actually got a flower, or not flower, a feather power up that I collected through the first sprint banner. So I'll be using that for sure on this rep of Libby Hill. You can see people popping the power-ups right away. We're still going so fast, 40 kilometers an hour. So there's a huge draft effect right now. I'm just starting to dip into the orange numbers. You can see everybody around me is also in the orange, in the top 15. So this is a really good spot to be. We have a bit of a dip here, and then the effort comes right back on. So I was saving the feather power up for the last bit of the climb, just because I know that this bit of the climb is hard and I needed it in case my legs were giving out. But still in the top 17, so we're in the top group, which is a good sign. And I'm coming in strong here. And we end up doing that in a minute and 1 second. It's a pretty fast time up there. So I can look through my Strava data since we're looking through this in post, and I can see what my power was up that climb. Let's see. Let's load this page up. Sorry, just getting the Strava data so I can give you guys some reports on the numbers I was doing during that race. So the lead into Libby Hill was pretty hard. I was averaging 300 watts for the first 15 minutes of that. So before we had even hit the climbs. And if we look at my Strava data, up Libby Hill, I did 518 watts, and I actually made a tactical error there, dropping the wheel a bit, and I'm having to make a pretty big effort up this second climb. That this effort definitely hurt a lot. I got super lucky and got another feather power up on the top of Libby Hill. Otherwise, I don't know if I would have made this next split. But up that 30 seconds, I was doing 460 watts, so actually less watts than what I did up Libby Hill for an effort that was half the time. And I'm really in the hurt house here. I instantly use my drafting power up. I'm letting people come around me and just so I can back off the wattages and hope that they close the gaps. So this is a small bit of time you can recover. It's about 30 seconds or so before the last climb. In my opinion, the last climb is definitely the hardest. It's around a 3 minute effort and it hurts a lot, especially after those two really short, sharp efforts. So the group in front of us has a bunch of really strong guys. Ian Bivy was in that group, Lionel Vuyasin, and of course the poison dart frog himself. So I know we have pretty much no chance of catching that front group. They're just so talented and so much firepower in there. So I'm just sitting on the wheels here, trying to conserve as much energy as possible. Some of the riders who I'm with, so the guy in red up there, he's trying to make the bridge, but it wasn't worth it. There was no way you would be able to bridge to that. And and if you're getting caught out in these gaps, chances are you just didn't have the legs to stay with that front group, which was the case for me. So I'm just going up here around 380 to 400 watts, something that I'm confident I can sustain for those 2 to 3 minutes. I know we're probably going to get caught by a bigger group behind us, so I'm not fully invested in anything right now. I'm just trying to stay on wheels and conserve as much energy as possible. So I'm just coming up to these two guys and I'll just sit on the wheels. Especially this last half of the climb is a lot more shallow, so from here on out to the finish it's about 3%, 2 to 3%. So you can really take advantage of a draft. So this final climb into the finish, I averaged 350 watts on that steep part, which is just behind us now. Nothing too crazy. My heart rate is coming down in the 180 beats per minute. On the top of Libby Hill there, I was at 193, which is close to my maximum heart rate. I think I've posted 196 on Zwift a handful of times. And up there, you can see there's cones in the people for the people in front of us. So I don't know if you guys saw that, but there were a couple people getting the cone of shame. And this actually happens if you do the UCI lap in under 20 minutes. So everybody in front of me got DQ'd from the race, which is crazy. These guys, maybe there were, maybe there was some people cheating. I don't think that anybody in the front group was cheating, and I think that they're all just absolute machines. Especially like you look at people like Leonardo, the poison dart frog. He's so strong. He doesn't need to cheat. He's just strong enough to get flagged for cheating. And you can see here a chase group has caught us. We're the front group on the road now that all of those riders ahead of us got DQ'd. It's unfortunate because this like really altered the race dynamic. And yeah, the guys in front of us, they put in such hard efforts just to be with that front group and just to get DQ'd over a matter of seconds. I can just imagine how frustrating that would be. My group was only 20 seconds off getting that DQ time, so in a sense, we rode this as optimally as we could. So the second lap was a lot more cruisy than the first lap. You can see my heart rate's down in the 140s even. I'm really getting a chance to recover, and I've managed to pick up an Aero helmet, which I plan on saving for the final sprint. So here we go, second time up Libby Hill. There's a pretty big group with us, so it's not so big like at the beginning of the race where it's hard to manage anything, but it's it's big enough that you can really get advantage from the draft and you don't want to be just out front pushing wind. So you can see I have a couple teammates here with me. I have Mike, Evan, and Dean. We're all in the same kits and we're about to hit the hard part. So I actually fell back pretty far in that group. I don't know what happened there, but I was pretty far back and I've had to make a decently big effort. And here, the three of us teammates are all together right there. But I've had to make a pretty big effort just to get back up to the front of this group. I like this little downhill here. It kind of is a nice mental break. It's kind of halfway through the climb and just really boosts the spirits. So I'm really pushing hard here. I've had a caffeine gel. The first time, or that when we passed through the start finish, I took a caffeine gel. So I'm really feeling focused right now. And my legs are actually feeling pretty decent, which is a surprise. So I'm just stepping on the gas here and fly through the group as we pass the KOM banner. And I actually take the KOM because I rode that so poorly because I started near the back of the group at the beginning and ended near the front. So I'm easing off the power here a bit and letting people come around me. I don't care too much about places here because I know everybody's gonna, for the most part, stay intact here. And it doesn't really matter if I'm at the front of the group or 10 riders back. In fact, it's better to be near the back of the group because then going into the next climb, you can kind of put some power in before the climb starts and get some momentum going and then pass through everyone without having to do too much of an effort. So you can see here, I'm doing exactly that. So I've put in a bit of an effort and I'm flying through the group because I have more momentum. Everybody in front of me is doing orange numbers and I just started doing orange numbers there. And we're kind of near the front of this group. And I know this is going to be a pretty big selection process right now. So I'm trying to stay as far up to the front as I can. And as soon as I hit the top, instantly my power back off of it. I don't want to be wasting any energy here. Heart rate in the 190s, so it's not killing me, but it's definitely an effort I can feel right now. Into the final climb, I kind of expected people to attack around 800 meters out. I wanted to go around 800 meters, but because I had the arrow power up, I knew that it would be more beneficial if I just sat in and hoped that it would be a group coming to the finish together and I could outsprint them. But we're about to find out what actually happens. So we take this right-hander and we're pretty much at the base of the final climb. We have a pretty solid group here. A lot of guys are right up there with me. Heart rate is pretty low, 170, so I'm in a good spot right now considering we're right at the end of the race. And here goes the final effort. As soon as it kicks up, we're already in the 6 watts per kilo range. So we're going hard. And here's an attack off the front super early, 1 kilometer out. I didn't expect anybody to go that early, especially when we're going so fast because you get such a big effect from the draft. So I hesitated there in covering his attack and I couldn't manage to quite get on the wheel. But you can see me trying my hardest to get on terms with these two people in front. And I'm just hoping that like I can dig deep and get something, but I just have nothing left in the tank and the gap is growing. So I kind of sit up and try to recover a bit, get on this guy's wheel. And I'm putting in one final effort here just to try get back onto these guys' wheels. And you can see the gap is slowly coming down, but I just don't have the legs. I'm 1 second behind, and I want that sweet, sweet draft. So I'm using my arrow, and I just completely get past here because I have nothing left in me. I'm sprinting all out here, and I'm only able to push 4.5, 5 watts per kilo. This is me trying 100%, I can assure you. I see that there's people coming in behind me fast, and like I can't do anything about it because my legs are just so done. I was tasting the lactic acid at the end of that. But overall, happy with the result. Eighth overall, but in reality, more like 28th because those 20 guys in front of us definitely, if they hadn't held the gap throughout the flat section of the race, they definitely would have dropped us up those hills the second time around like they did the first time. But it's a good result. My teammates also managed to do well. We had a bunch of us were in the top 50, so we're all happy with that. And yeah, that's it. Thanks everybody for watching, and I'll be recording the Nationals coming Sunday, so be sure to stay tuned and keep an eye out for that. In the meantime, you can like and subscribe.